Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the Witches Movie Coven. We haven't figured that out yet. Every week I'm going to say that till we have to have an answer. Jason made it. Yay. A house
We-
fire? You had a house fire? Well, let's open up first. Right there. Hi, you guys. This is where witches talk about witches and witchy movies. I am Patti Negri, one of your hosts. You probably know me from the Witching Hour. We have Courtney Buckley wrapped up in her beautiful Witches Movie Coven blanket. We have the fabulous Richard-Lael Lillard, looking as elegant as always. And we have Jason Mankey and Kitchen Fire. What?
there was something burning in our kitchen right before the show. I was getting ready to come in here, and my wife and I were trying to figure it out. And we still haven't figured it out, but nothing is burned down. I did just finish watching The Ninth Gate. Maybe it had something to do with that. Perhaps Satan had just shown up. I don't know.
I mean, how many places could be on fire? You have an oven, you have a stove, you have a microwave.
We think it was just something on the bottom of a saucepan. I mean, we think everything's going to be fine. But it was just smelly. It was just smelly.
Okay. Well, we're glad you're here. We do have somebody missing. Heather is missing. Heather Greene, our author, Heather Greene of the Witch and Movie book. But we love her, and she's somewhere else. I think she's seeing a fabulous show in New York. So don't feel too sorry for her. She's left us for something better. But she will be back next week. Hope everybody had a great week. We've had there's some internet problems here and there because there's weather everywhere. So if any of us go out, come in and out and just, put up with us and hang around, and we will come back. Kitchen fires, internet blackouts, rain.
Summoning the devil in the kitchen or here.
It's Wednesday. We don't know what could happen. Oh, God.
You never know. A Black Phillip might be hungry.
He might be hungry.
Dolls want to play. Not a doll. Want to play.
You just called your not a doll.
I didn't. I was looking at Richard-Lael's doll. It's not my doll. My not a doll.
No, it is doll, not a doll. Now it's a not a doll.
You gave in, Courtney.
Not a
doll. You gave in.
Yeah. All right. So hi everybody. Welcome. Thank you guys for coming. Tell your friends about us. We're not so much we try to post on Facebook. Facebook doesn't like us, so know that you could always find on YouTube if they ever just completely murder us and send us to the devil or the gods or whoever Facebook wants. So anyway, we decided we're going to talk about a couple of things, but we're going to start with the Mayfair Witches. Anne Rice's, yes, it's a 3-book trilogy and now a series on AMC. I was luckily enough with my friend Sebastian, most of you know Father Sebastian, we got to go to the screening of it. I actually got to host the Witches Ball for it in New Orleans last year. So I literally was doing ritual to Lasher on the stage of the House of Blues, having like the best time of my life with like 6 other witches spinning on the stage. I'm like, this is fun. But so I actually saw this first episode on the big screen. So it was to me. But so before we go there, I don't know if all of us saw it, Mayfair Witches. I think we did. It just started. So who wants to talk first about it? Anybody?
I will tell you. I'll start since I know I'm sort of in the middle. Okay. So I like Anne Rice. I never really went through an Anne Rice phase, but I like Anne Rice. I mean, the closest thing to going through an Anne Rice phase was the what was that men's fashion in the 90s with a puffy shirt? It was like Gentleman's Gazette or something. I can't remember, some weird, and with like the puffy sleeves, and it was the 90s. So I did go through that. That was the closest thing through going through an Anne Rice phase as I have ever done. But I thought cinematically, it was beautiful. I really love New Orleans anyway. So I love that it takes place in New Orleans. I love the magic and the mystery, and I love sort of the intrigue that the city itself holds. And I will say that it's beautiful, and that is where I will stop for now, and then I'll let other people talk, because I also kind of I probed before, and I kind of know where everyone stands. So I'm going to let everyone else have a little chat.
Okay, and then later we will circle back around to the Anne Rice phases and the legacy of Anne Rice, and starting with Interview with a Vampire and all the vampire books, and how important she is to so many in our slightly left of center communities and things. So, but we will circle back around there. Okay, who wants to go next, Jason?
Oh man, I was bored. I was really bored. Now, it's impossible to judge a show on one episode, and all I've seen is one episode. And my wife wants to watch this, so we're going to continue to watch it whether I want to or not, and perhaps it will turn around. But I got kind of what the narrative was like, what they're doing by playing with the time and stuff, here's her mom and, here's her mom today, that kind of stuff. And that's fun. It feels like a lot of TV shows like to do that puzzle box thing now. It's kind of a cliche, but I'll run with it. But I don't know. I felt like Richard-Lael. I thought it looked pretty. I love New Orleans too. Maybe it'll get better, but they need to up the pacing. They need to up it really fast because it was like snore inducing.
Wow. Okay. All right. So we're not doing good on the ones up so far. All right, Courtney.
So I also did not like it. Here's the thing. I also have never gone through an Anne Rice phase. I've never read an Anne Rice book. I'm not against it. I've heard wonderful things. I just never have had the time to commit. I feel like that I would want to commit to doing that. I understand that this was so exciting for this to come out, but for someone who never had any idea of the story or whatever, it was very hard for me to follow. Like, I got the time thing. I get that because that's in every TV show, like Jason said now. And I knew how the episode was going to end before it ended, but it was still hard to, even with like knowing all of that, I felt like the story itself was hard to follow. I couldn't understand like who the characters were to each other, even though, thinking back on it, it was said some of the things that I just didn't catch it, because I think, like Jason, I was bored, so my brain was wandering and I wasn't paying close enough attention to it. I feel like we're gonna continue to talk about this show, maybe little updates here and there like we did with Wednesday. So I will, for the show, continue to watch it and give it more of a chance. But I feel like if I had just been excited about this show for my own self and I had watched this first episode, I might have gone to the second, but it might have been a while. Like, I would probably wait. I like to binge watch shows, so I think I would wait for the whole season to be out and then try to binge it instead, because sometimes I receive things better that way. But for this first episode, not a fan.
Okay, thank you. Well, I will be the contrary one here. And obviously maybe because I was excited about it, and that could go either way. It could be a big disappointment or whatever what it was. I am an Anne Rice fan. I got to do the cool thing at House of Blues. So, and I think maybe because of what you guys are liking is the prettiness. I saw it on the big screen. I saw it in a regular movie theater. So I became engrossed. And I'm not a big one who go like slow paced things. I think we talked about whatever movie we were talking about last week or the week before. I'm not usually a slow paced movie, but I never even thought it was slow. I think I just totally got engrossed in the atmosphere. And even in the characters, I don't remember not understanding them. I just came into it, which is, I think, what you're supposed to do for the entertainment. I followed along, throwing, what is she doing? What's going on? Which is this and that. And I think I totally, so maybe it's got to be a big screen thing. I don't know, because it ended and I wanted more. It ended and I just wanted more immediately, knowing there would be more to come.
Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
I had my wife next to me who's read the books. Mm-hmm. So there were points where she was explaining things to me going, that's not how I thought that person would look. I guess I get what they're doing here. So I also had a little bit of running commentary, but it also made sure that I never got lost, because she could always kind of explain things to me as they were going along. And I do think there's a difference too. If you've read the books, and I have not read the Mayfair series, And, you know, and if you have read the Mayfair series, right? So if you've read it, maybe you like it just because you're seeing the story on the screen for the first time.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I don't know, because again, I am doing audiobook of it right now. I don't remember yesterday, let alone a book I read 100 years ago. So I don't think that was it. I think it just didn't matter. I was so in the moment. It didn't, if I knew who that was person, I knew it would come together just being there. So what about from the, so we're looking at the style of the show, the like the show, the not like the show. Okay. There's notes from our producer. I'm reading. What about from the witchy perspective? Anybody have any comments, good, bad, or indifferent?
Yes, that I do have, actually.
Okay, go, Richard-Lael.
Yeah, and this is actually a positive in the show. This is something that I did identify with. So in the show, she's a doctor. I clearly am not a doctor, maybe a witch doctor, but that's another story for another day. But in this, she understands where the blood clots are. She understands where there's a rupture. She senses it. And then in her anger, she sort of would go in and she would see these aneurysms happening in the brain of the person who was opposite of her. And so it was really sort of terrifying, and she didn't know what she didn't understand, and it was scary. And from my perspective, when I was just a little thing and I would look at someone and I have to speak sort of around it because of, so when I was a boy, my parents took in foster children, and there was one fellow who was a year older than me who was, he was cruel, and he tormented me all the time. That was what his pastime was. And I looked at him and I told him that he was going to die in a certain tragic way. And I said, don't worry, it won't happen until you're 25. And then I found out that on his 25th year, he died in the way that I saw when I was 9. And I had this sort of existential crisis because I went to my own mother and I said, well, I told him this is what was going to happen. Did I cause this? I feel horrible. I didn't want that to happen. And my mother said to me, my mother, who was very clairvoyant and was very much a witch, even though she didn't use the moniker, she said to me, no, honey, you didn't cause it. You saw it, and there's a difference. So the interaction that she had, that oh my goodness, I may have caused this person's death, and I didn't really want to do that. That fear of, am I a horrible, bad person? That I understood.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I must say, I working with clients just like you do every day. So many people who have the gift and they see something happening, they think they caused it. And it's like, no, you just saw it. You didn't cause it. Anyway, you were going to say, Courtney?
I have there was one scene that I did like and identify with, and you have to forgive me because even though I just watched it an hour ago, I don't remember the names. But it was when the mom was younger and was pregnant, and she went into the room with like the downstairs room while the other lady was upstairs praying, and the guy came up to her, or whoever he was, but he appeared to her, and she was doing the thing where she had to take off the necklace, and then he was asking her to accept him and put the necklace back on. That gave me, like, for me being, in Salem all the time and talking about Salem history, that was very much a, will you sign the devil's book moment that like I think about and talk about a lot. So I was like, oh, hey, like, there we go. And I did like that scene caught my attention because of that. And I can see Patti too, like deviating a little bit, like, seeing it on the big screen, I feel like I would have had a very different response than watching it in my living room where I can wear my Witches Movie Coven blanket and sleep.
You need to bring the Witches Movie Coven blanket to the movies.
Oh, if you think I'm not wearing this everywhere, I'm going to.
I feel cheated, though, as a witch myself when I watch shows like this, because we don't have a family demon. that
Yeah.
comes around and visits.
Jealousy.
Right? And I don't come from like a long line of witches as far as I know. So, just maybe I'm just sad that this isn't my family. Like the Mankey family sucks and we don't have these accoutrements with
You're
our
not the
witchcraft.
13th witch of the.
Yeah.
One thing.
My dad was adopted, so I can still hold that hope because I don't know who his birth family was.
You might be a Mayfair and you hate
Could
them.
be me.
So there you go.
Yeah, and they abandoned me, so.
Yeah. You reminded me of a thing, Richard-Lael, when you said that mind meld thing and then the thing. Did she cause that? I was amazed. I was really, really shy when I was little. I knew I had gifts, but I was so shy I would not ever speak up for myself. But when somebody was mean to me, or when, or just whatever, I did that. I mean, I didn't give anybody an aneurysm or anything like that, but I still have this Patti evil eye thing that I can do. And every once in a while, I still may pop up, but it's a whole big energy. And when I saw that on screen, I'm like, oh, that's the Patti. But I haven't broken anybody's. But that whole, yeah. So that was funny because I just went. Oh.
I take it back. I love the show.
That's right. I can do that. I can do that.
He's nervous now.
Yeah. So
now you're hiding behind Black Phillip like I did last week.
We're gonna all hide behind Black Phillip, but my Black Phillip got the woogie wrong eyes.
That's because he's got he has the same eyes as mine does.
No, mine are one's up and one's down.
Oh, mine's kind of like that.
Mine is a completely different Black Phillip.
Is it?
Yeah, look at his eyes. They almost.
Yeah, he has real eyes, not goat eyes.
I know.
Weird.
I don't know why.
Everybody's Black Phillip is different, and mine looks a little dingy, like he needs some Clorox bleach or something. Which are they? He looks.
I'm actually going to New Orleans tomorrow, so maybe I'll take my Black Phillip around and like pose him at Mayfair witches sites or something.
Yeah,
you should
do that. You should definitely do that.
That would be awesome. So anyway, anybody out there, I want to say books are wonderful. My Dickens. I've probably been missing some of the things of people that saw it. Somebody's asking an important question. Where can you buy a Black Phillip? I got mine from a metaphysical or occult store when I was in Plattsburgh at Frankie Frank's. Do you remember the name of that store, Richard-Lael? We were there together.
I should remember, but I can't.
Those two cute guys, those cute guys across the way, they really.
Patti, I was in Vamp Fangs in Salem not that long ago, and I brought Black Phillip, and they were like swooning over him, but they also showed me their Black Phillip version that they had.
They have
they have plushies, and I was like, and they were like the little dark, they call them the little dark lord plushie, and I was like, I'm coming back when I get paid. Like I need another one.
Will it be dueling Black Phillips?
I think they'll be like in cahoots with each other, Black Phillips. Okay. I'll just be filled with evil, surrounded by evil.
You don't want like horns butting in the middle of the night.
Maybe that's what they'll be up to. We never know.
I think they'll be okay. I have goats. I have a real Black Phillip over there, and then I have several family members with horns. So I think your Black Phillips will be fine.
They'll be fine. Yes, because
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It just popped.
You didn't interrupt. This is what we do. Killstar has something similar. You know the one that Vamp Fangs might be Killstar. Killstar.
It could be. I'm gonna look
it up. Clothing line, a very goth clothing line.
I'll admit that I got mine from Amazon by typing Black Phillip plushie, and he showed up.
See, So
I
you can get a Black Phillip somewhere.
Yeah.
Mine says adore, I think. I think that's what it says.
Mine too.
You guys are supposed to cut that off.
I can't until I do the butthole magic, and I haven't had time yet.
Now, anybody listening who hasn't listened before knows that you're going to do butthole magic on your Black Phillip.
Oh, I wonder if that was what Facebook was mad about.
Oh
no. No.
I
Go ahead.
I just assume we need an OnlyFans of the Witches movie Coven for some of this.
The Black Phillip Society OnlyFans.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think the little bit of comments that we've got from everybody, and we want your comments. Thank you so much in the chat room. Next, but I saw people who liked it and some people who agreed with you guys about being bored. So I guess we can maybe revisit it another time. And
Patti, I want to hear about Anne Rice though, because I want to be inspired.
Okay, Anne Rice. I don't know. She's just Anne Rice. I'm a really good explainer, aren't I? It's like, no, with just the world she has created, the worlds this one woman created, looking at the vampire world, and I mean, literally the vampire culture created off Anne Rice's version of what vampires are. Not off of Dracula, created off of Anne Rice's, what vampires could be, and then getting into the witch books and the Mayfair witches and all that in New Orleans and setting up what New Orleans looks like. I don't know. I just think there's a whole subculture who adore her. I had Father Sebastian, on taping my show earlier today that'll air in a couple weeks, and how his whole life was designed around that, off of Anne Rice and what she did. There's just something powerful about her. It's not just she's a prolific writer. She's a writer. What did Corey write? She inspired my love of reading. She was so loving to her fans. I received at least 2 emails from her directly on my correspondence with her. Yeah. And Sebastian was talking about how his first, when he was practically a kid in 95, the first whatever ball in New Orleans he went to, how she arrived and got out of a coffin and out of a hearse. And I don't know, just in this Halloween, it was really great when we were there for the Vampire Ball and the Witches Ball. AMC sponsored both. We went to her second line. So, which is this is everything I'm just learning. A funeral, you have the first line funeral, which I guess is the religious stuff in church. And the second line is the not religious. It's the New Orleans band and the marching through the streets. We marched through the streets of New Orleans. We started at a bookstore that had a whole Anne Rice thing going, obviously, through the French Quarter, and a band in front, and hundreds of people went by her house, went by. It was like the most magical thing. People from everywhere, people every walk of life, you can go for a writer but whatever, but she created worlds. She created fantasy worlds. So I don't know. I think so many people made it okay to be who they wanted to be, even if they took it from her. It's like, you don't have to just keep watching, the Brady Bunch or Family Tie, or I'm naming really old shows. That there's this whole other world of magical and weird and dark and other people out there.
I think Patti really nails it on the head. She created a subculture. There was really not that interest in dressing up as vampires and seeing them as sympathetic figures and going, this is what I want to be like, until Interview with a Vampire and then Lestat especially. I mean, and yeah, I don't think she gets the credit that she deserves for creating that kind of genre out of thin air, really. I mean, vampires have been around before, but Anne Rice made them sexy, and there's a homoerotic subtext, which for books published in the 80s was a huge deal. And probably really opened a lot of eyes that had been closed before. So, I mean, a real pioneer. I'm not a huge fan of her writing because I read it, I like the world, but she never answers my damn questions about it, which drives me crazy. But, it's hard not to dive in when you start an Anne Rice book.
Yeah, but life doesn't always answer your questions, does it?
But it's a book. It's supposed to answer my questions.
All right, so what book?
I do like that everything's sexy. She's sexy.
I think that's why I never got into it, because as a kid, I used to take weekly trips to the library, and I'd bring a backpack, and I'd fill up the backpack with all the books I could carry, and then I'd come home and I'd read them all. And then at the next week, I'd bring them all back, and I'd fill up my backpack again. And I got a Danielle Steele book out of the library, and I didn't know I wasn't supposed to read Danielle Steele. And it was about like the Titanic, and I was into the Titanic, so that's why I got it. And my mom found it and got mad at me about it, and I wasn't allowed to read it. And then I think the same thing happened with an Anne Rice book. I wasn't allowed to read it. So I think for a while it just was like I missed that reader in me, like when I was reading constantly all the time. But what book would you recommend someone start with who's never read Anne Rice?
Interview with the Vampire, definitely. I mean, that's in itself become the original movie and now the series of it. I love that people are commenting. So let's look at that. Corey wrote, she leaves the questions unanswered for a reason. You create your own story with the answers you make up from her questions. Yeah, see, that doesn't bother me. I like that. Full of energy. We definitely have a wands up on Anne Rice here in the chat room. I have her Vampire Chronicles. Anne was obsessed with the other. She loved the other. She was full of energy. Christopher Rice is planning on an event for her celebration of life. Well, that's good. I don't know. I don't know, so I can't speak to this. And I don't know that he's really crazy about these new TV shows and everything is what I hear, but I don't know, so I can't speak to it.
And somebody mentioned that she had she kind of was a Christian, not a Christian. I remember after her husband died, she dived deep back into Catholicism and wrote some books about Jesus, which were like a huge departure from the kind of things Anne Rice wrote. I mean, yes, Jesus comes back as a zombie, but that's not really here nor there.
A sexy homoerotic vampire, which...
Yeah, but
what have I been missing?
I just remember when that happened, though. I had friends who were like just so disappointed and sad, right, that she kind of changed. And then I think she got over her grief and kind of left that behind again, at least, loudly and publicly. But it was a strange couple of years when she was writing the Jesus story books. I'm not even sure they're in print anymore.
Oh yeah, maybe they pulled them. There's when people do that, they should. That's happened with other people or like New Age and spirituality people, and they find this new God. It's like, if you're that big of a public, I don't know, go slow. It just go slow sometimes. Kelly went to a Bible study about a Christian book. Stopped going when the leader denounced her previous works. See, how do you denounce? Go, Richard-Lael.
I wanted to tell you. So I did have a vampire phase, but I was not inspired by Anne Rice vampires because the movie didn't come out until 1994. And in 1991, I was telling everyone that I was a 315-year-old vampire and that I wore a cape, and I would tell the joke that I just flew in from Transylvania and my arms were tired.
Do you have pictures? Please have pictures.
Oh, somewhere. I'm sure they're somewhere. My mother probably has them somewhere.
I fully support.
My mother was she was really funny because she says, "Well, if you're going to wear a cape, at least wear a nice one."
And
so
that obviously took. You always have a nice everything.
But this was 1991, and this was before the Interview with the Vampire came out, because I didn't read the books. I was middle of nowhere. I didn't read the books, but I was in those days obsessed with the idea of immortality and sort of being pale and wearing a suit and looking like I do now. But I was obsessed with it then, but just not Anne Rice.
Cool. Thank you. That's okay. Were you inspired by anything or just the mythos of vampire?
I think I was more inspired by inspired by Bela Lugosi, actually.
Oh yeah, that works.
Was that right? No, Bela Lugosi was
you got it right.
I got that right. Okay. Yeah. I had to go back really quickly. I was like, because I kept saying Bela Lugosi, the character Bela Lugosi in Ed Wood, calling Boris Karloff a cocksucker, and I couldn't. I went, wait, is it Boris Karloff or is it? No, it was right. It was. Anyway, that was it. That was my vampire phase. That was my.
I love it. And you've got things.
I like the comment that says Pixar, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
I think we all support this.
I have to find them. I'm sure my mother saved everything, so my family, they're all going through my mother's books and pictures, and you know they'll be sending them to me, I'm sure. But yeah, there were pictures. There were, I'm sure of it. I mean, if I showed up on film, that's one of the things of being a vampire.
That's right. That's right. You never know.
True. Facts. You're right.
There's just these
Forgot about
pictures
that.
of like parts of Richard-Lael's house as a child because he's like the picture's going through him, right?
Yep.
You know, actually, speaking of vampires, do you know why the lore is that vampires do not show up on film?
No.
No?
They have no soul.
Well, that's not really why either. It's because originally silver, this is way back, ancient history. So silver is seen as something holy. And if you had silver, something that was wicked couldn't touch it because silver is pure. It's supposed to be. And so something that was wicked would be repelled by it. And so original cameras used a silver, what is it called? In the actual lens work, it had silver in it. So that was how the original cameras would work. And therefore, if one was a vampire, you wouldn't show up on film because of the silver. That's why they don't show up in mirrors.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, because mirrors used to be silver too, right? They were silver back, so that would make sense. Silver nitrate, says Melissa.
Silver nitrate, yes.
Yeah.
In the old cameras, silver nitrate. So silver was holy, vampires were unholy, vampires could not show up. Now, if you're a vampire witch, Patti, you can show up in film no matter how much silver nitrate is present.
Exactly, because it's that hybrid thing. You know, hybrids, everybody loves a hybrid. No, when I always say how I explain the difference of being a vampire witch as I am, it's so similar. It's a very elemental magic. It's very ceremonial magic. It's very whatever. The big difference is more in the witchy world, the cloaks are either like organic cotton or Stevie Nicks lace. And in the vampire world, it's the finest of velvet with a red silk lining. That's it. The rest is the same. A few names. There you go. See?
Actually, it's so funny that we're talking about vampires because I want to show you something. So if you see right here, this medallion that I'm wearing, it's a Maltese cross. This is not, but originally I got this because I wanted something to wear as my Louis character, and the medallion I thought was too ridiculous, and it was gold, like spray painted gold. It didn't look real, but I loved this. This is actually was a replica of Bela Lugosi's 1932 medallion he wore in Dracula.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's awesome!
Surprise!
That is awesome. You are a vampire. Yeah. All right. So I guess Mayfair witches. It's mixed. We have people who really don't like it. Everybody sees at least one point that they like or a moment that they like. I still like it. I'm going to stick by it. And if you like that sort of thing, check it out. I don't know how many episode series it is, but I highly recommend you guys try at least a second episode if you're up for it. But it looks like Jason has to because his wife wants to, and Courtney said she would. So
I'll do it for you, Patti.
I'm going to too because it is beautiful, and I am addicted to things that are beautiful. So.
And what you would like, because you beautiful. Yeah, what you got, everything. It was the wardrobing. I love that. But we met because at the Witches Ball in Salem, we were hanging out with the costume designers from Mayfair Witches. They, to the tiniest on the foot of the shoe of the everything, tried to pay attention to detail.
Have you heard that they have their Interview with a Vampire TV series too, and they're trying to create like an Anne Rice world, like Marvel.
They are,
and so we're gonna have like the crossovers with Lestat and the Mayfair Witches.
I don't know if they're gonna do crossovers.
That's what people think is gonna happen.
I don't know if they're going to do that, but that would be marvelous.
Yeah.
Marvel.
Liz,
Yes.
I just hope we get to her mummy book, which I always really liked better than everything else.
Yeah, I know they are doing Anne Rice World. I know because we went to the wrap party after the screening for the Mayfair Witches at the Roosevelt. It was a great one of those really high budget wrap parties. And we were talking to the creator or the producer from Interview with the Vampire. So yeah, they've got Lestat coming. They've got a whole Anne Rice World coming. I don't know about crossing over, but would that be not funny if like Lestat showed up with, I don't know. We could see. We'll have to wait and see, everybody. So I guess before we even move on, should we do episode 1 only? We're not going to wands up, wands down. Now, you guys in the chat room, write wands up or wands down or arrow up or arrow down. Mayfair Witches only first episode. I'm wands up. And 3 neutrals. 3 neutrals.
Mine is kind of a little bit more up. Mine is
A
mine
little
is
rise, just a little rise, just a little rise.
just a
Okay,
little.
so worth, you guys, we don't even have a complete down. So I won them over.
We do have a wands down in the channel.
We do have
comments, yeah.
Okay, wands down. John did not like it. Melissa did like it. Wands up. So we were very, very mixed. Another wands up. The synopsis looks super interesting. So neutral for now. Neutral, yeah. So we'll continue this on, even if we have, as this series goes, we don't have to do a whole thing on it. But worth checking out, especially if all you witchy folks who are watching the Witches movie coming. It is a series about witches, and it is in New Orleans. And I think everybody would be wands up about New Orleans, right? Whatever is shot there. So
yes, absolutely.
So speaking of New Orleans, I have to tell you one little thing that's in the news today.
Okay.
So New Orleans, Louisiana. This is I know family friendly, but I will tell you this: New Orleans, Louisiana has a new law that anyone who watches it rhymes with horn cub. Corn. It rhymes with corn hub. Anyone who watches Corn, they have to enter in their identification, and then it gets registered so that everyone in Louisiana, if you watch any kind of Corn, you have to enter in all of your driver's license information.
Why? Because
nothing gets you in the mood like, yes, I would love to watch Corn. Let me type in my name. Oh, and you've tracked exactly what I've watched. That gets me in the mood. Okay. So the law is anything that is over 75%. I mean, anything that is 25% or more, it is as a porn site, and you have to enter in. I mean, a corn site. Corn. I said corn. So you have to enter in your information. So for all of those vampires who are watching Corn, you have to enter in your identification, and you have to have one because you have to have identification. So if you're 300 years old or 400 years old, you don't want to say your real date. Sorry, you have to enter in, prove that you are that old.
So you are telling me that the corn's not going to be a poppin' like it usually is.
But have you guys heard the Corn song from that on TikTok from that little kid that loved Corn and they made it into a song? He goes, "It's
Are we talking
corn,
about
a big
corn?
loaf with knobs. It has the juice.
Okay.
It has the juice." It gives a whole new meaning to that song. Every time you said corn, I was like, "It has the juice."
Not anymore. Not in New Orleans. Not in Louisiana. It doesn't.
Okay. Oh, we're getting more stuff about Anne Rice. Said that the death of her daughter, Michelle, and leukemia in 1972, the catalyst for beginning. Yeah, if we ever talk about Interview with the Vampire, that's all her family. That's her characters. That's what she's writing about. So anyway, but that's not today's movie. But we are. What kind of juice? Oh, corn. Anyway, we love how active you guys are. Please keep it up. So we were going to now sit away for the Mayfair Witches. And let's talk about something. I know that you haven't seen it yet, Courtney, but we're going to inspire you too.
Oh, I can't wait to watch it.
The ninth gate. Now, we do not have Heather here as usually to say the exact time or hour of the day that it was made and what I do. But it was, I think, 1999. Movie.
Wait.
I was just gonna say I can get Heather's book.
It was
Either that, or I can pretend to be Heather, but not as smart as Heather. But I'm
a Roman Polanski film and starring Johnny Depp. So even I know that our producer was a little like, some people aren't going to like it because it's a Roman Polanski film and it's starring Johnny Depp, but we're going to overlook those aspects of things.
And it was 1999. You are the Heather. I'm
Heather.
This wouldn't be in Heather's book anyways because it was filmed in Europe, so it's not an American film.
So yeah. I'm the Heather. You could be the Heather wannabe, Richard-Lael.
Well, I'm not nearly as smart. I just have Google, so you know.
Anyway, I honestly, for some reason, I don't know what I was doing in 1999, had completely missed it. And I was always a Johnny Depp fan. So, and I was always.
I know what you were doing in 1999.
Do you?
You were partying like it was 1999.
I was partying like it was 1999 with Prince. Yes, I was. I need to bring my husband in with his snare drum to just do rim shot throughout the whole hour is what we really need to do.
That's what we'll do. We'll do that at the live show. When we do the in-person live show.
I think we could take it on the road. My YouTuber guys I work with, the Overnight Go, Elton and Corey, the Gold TFIO, they do exactly that. They do exactly what they're doing, and they sell out houses of big theaters just doing this without even a drummer. So yeah, we take Black Phillip. We could sell Black Phillip merch on the side. Anyway, moving on. I'd never heard about the movie, and I'm not going to talk first this time, but I liked it. Who wants to talk about it?
I'm going to talk about it because I love the film. It's been one of my favorites. I love books, and I love summoning the devil. So it's a perfect film for me. So Johnny Depp's character, he is this rare book dealer, and he is unscrupulous, and he finds that through his employer that there is a book that allows him to summon the devil, but he has to try to find what ones are forgeries. And I love it. I love everything about it.
But yeah. That's it? Okay.
Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry. I didn't have anything else. I love the book. I love summoning the devil.
Okay. That is good. And it was pretty, and it was had enough action adventure in it, and enough mystery and intrigue. And who's the girl? And she's really pretty. She's really
and like I said I had enough, but I really love all the references to the tarot deck. You saw that too.
Oh my God. And it's like, why didn't everybody notice that at first? I mean, maybe people watching it did, but even anybody at Buckley should have said, that's the hangman.
And that's the hermit, and that's the tower, and that's the death card. And it was fabulous.
Yeah. Man, I agree.
There are things about this movie that just take me right out of the movie. So I think that if you're doing a TV show or a movie, you have to understand the worlds that you're filming or writing about or whatever. So we're led to believe that there is this priceless book that there are only 3 copies of in the whole world. And out of those, maybe 1 or 2 of them is a forgery. And, they're worth a small fortune. And they're putting the ash of their cigarette butts, of their cigarettes, on the book. Come on, that's ridiculous. Like, no, that's not what you do with rare books. Like, I saw that and I'm like, nope, I'm out. You would not do that to a rare occult book. It drove me crazy. I have rules. This movie broke my rules. This movie broke my rules.
Do you know what really took me out? Had nothing to do with the books. I love books. I have antique books myself. That none of that didn't bother me. What bothered me was that 1999 Viper driving through Paris. That
yes,
that bothered me. I mean, and then she dresses like she's an Arabian prince. And if you're an Arabian prince, why do you have a Viper? I mean, really, it's a good car, I guess, but really.
I love because I wanted to get attached to the emotion. Yes, of course you don't smoke cigarettes over antique books or touch them with your bare hands. You would put on
Yes.
gloves. To me, that was a Polanski thing, though. That was a Polanski, that weirdness of Polanski just set this weird, not real world. Everything was smoky, too. Did you notice that? The colors were all muted. There was no bright colors when they're, yes, of course, they're looking like the old library and the beautiful wooded library, which, you know, we all want to live in. But it's like there had been a lot of smoke machine before that, and you wouldn't have that either. To me, that was just that weird Polanski thing. I don't know what it meant, but
it was also 99 and everyone was too worried about Y2K to care about anything else.
That is true.
You know, the world was ending, so
why not
smoke over the
summon
rare
Satan?
books. Summon Satan, ash your cigarettes on a rare book.
Look at, yeah, that's it. Yes. They were pretty cute too.
You know, I adored them. I have to say, those two, they're my favorite character, my favorite side character, because I really love them. A lot of people don't know this. They actually got their start on the Muppet Show.
Look like Muppet.
It's Waldorf and Statler or something. What is?
Yeah.
That's not who they are. That's a lie. I was spreading misinformation.
And we love that about you.
I'm not convinced you're wrong. You know,
or Muppets were born of them, or Muppets were already there. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. No, it had everything that I liked of the action adventure, and then enough of the occult and the mystery, and enough of the, you know, not Illuminati, but you know what I mean, that occulty stuff.
But it was sort of Illuminati-esque with the black robes and the you know, the quintessential rich person with a black robe and a pentagram, upside down pentagram. You know, I mean I have those things. I have those things, but it's the quintessential idea of what a Satanist looks like, you know.
Yeah.
And everywhere Johnny Depp goes, people die, and yet he's not wanted for murder or questioning at any point in the film.
That's because the being that is the Scarlet Woman, writing the beast in the card,
Yeah.
she explains to him, no, he has to kill her in front of all of these people because then it lets you off the hook. So maybe that's why.
Maybe.
I don't know how that relates, but maybe.
In the book, she's an angel. She's a fallen angel in the book. That character who's unnamed. They don't really get into that in the movie so much.
See, I didn't mind that either. I liked the mystery of who she was. And then again, not that we're doing spoiler alerts because we just do this, but the ending, I know there was some controversy about the ending. If you know what it was, what happened.
It's a 24-year-old film now, so please, spoilers.
Spoil away.
Yeah, you know, he gets there, he gets all the stuff back, he this and that, he finds the last page, the missing everything, and then he gets back to the castle. And so what happens then?
Well, he ends up by actually opening the ninth gate, and so by doing so, he sort of becomes enveloped in the entire world of this satanic castle. He sort of becomes a Duke of Hell. But he opens the ninth gate. He becomes sort of the gate. He walks into the light, the Illuminati, the illumination of the. He walks into the illumination.
I thought Polanski did it better with Rosemary's Baby.
I mean,
I thought this was basically the same film, you know, minus some, you know, changes here and there. You know, you swap out Mia Farrow for Johnny Depp, but it felt a lot like the same film.
It was this. You are absolutely right on that. You are absolutely right, and I would agree too. Rosemary's Baby it's the best. I love Rosemary's Baby.
I just felt like watching The Ninth Gate that this movie likes to smell its own farts. I felt that way several times. I've just like it probably just got a good whiff, and thought it was much more clever than it really was.
Is that what that means? Because I'm like, I don't know that thing. What does that mean?
It can mean whatever.
Never recovered from that.
You lost Courtney in her blanket. You're so into yourself, you want to. Okay, I've never heard that. That's funny.
Oh my god.
I don't know, and honestly, that cigarette, the constantly smoking, drove me a little crazy, and but that's just me, nothing to do with the movie or anything like that. But the touching the books with so little disrespect that they did, that intrigued the hell out of me.
Yeah, or like taking the book and like putting it on a copy machine, right? Like I have a 400-year-old book, and here I am on the Xerox machine, because that's exactly what you would do. Who cares about the binding of the book or whatever? Let's flatten that thing out. Make sure we get a good copy.
That's no binding. That's no binding. That joke fell flat.
We're waiting for a rest of the joke here, Richard-Lael.
No, never mind. There's no joke. That was bad. That was a hit and a swing and a miss. I'll fire my writer for that one.
I'm sorry, Richard-Lael. It's just really hard to follow the movie that smells its own farts.
As Kevin says, you're going to get blood on a book during ritual, right? Or an orgy.
Well, you're not going to get blood on it during an orgy.
No, but you know what I mean. You're going to mess up your book a little bit, perhaps.
I mean, my BOS has managed to remain blood-free over all these decades. Maybe just put a sheet down. You can like read like a little plastic sheet or something.
Maybe there's not enough corn happening.
Maybe.
Not in Louisiana.
Register your corn.
I'll take some screenshots of me trying to log in for you, Richard-Lael.
All right. Well, we're getting low on time. So I don't know what we want to talk about next week, guys. All of you guys who've been so beautifully active in there, tell us what you want us to talk about. Coming up, is there any Valentine's Witch movies? Is there any?
Love Witch.
We have to do the Love Witch for Valentine's Day.
We should do the Love Witch. Okay, So that's coming up. There's no Imbolc Witch movies, is there? No.
I mean, Bill Murray could be witch in Groundhog Day.
I mean, that's kind of a witchy movie. There's no actual witches, I think, but it does kind of talk about. He could be a wizard. I think I could see him as a sort of a time traveling. Yeah, we could do that one.
Okay, so you guys, we will discuss this in private. We want you guys' thoughts. Again, you know how to find us. We have a thing on Facebook. I don't know that counts anymore, but you can find us on YouTube. All of us individually. And speaking of that, honestly, again, keep writing, you guys. We're reading this. We really are. Corey and Anja and Tabitha and Blue Jay. Okay, so let's tell everybody where they can find you, where they can follow you, if you have any fun events that people can participate on online or otherwise. Let's start with...
Oh, that's me.
It's you. Go, girl.
Okay, so as most of you know, I work in Salem for a tour company, Salem Night Tour. And in February, we call it the Anti-Valentine's Day Tour, as you can see on your screen. So this year we're running, I think it's February 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. And it's stories of love gone wrong in Salem. So I will be putting my tour guide hat back on so you can come and see me and take the tour, and you can go on the trolley and hear all about how if you fall in love, you will get murdered. That's the theme of the tour. My favorite part about it is that if you go to sign up for tickets, instead of having adult tickets, child tickets, senior tickets, etc., you have things that say like in a relationship with my cat or dog, hopelessly single, just here for the irony. And then there's one at the very bottom that says happy and in love. And if you choose that option, and it's very clearly labeled, if you choose that option, you pay $2 more. And so we figure out who has paid that $2 more, and then we make fun of them on the tour because they tried to throw it in everybody's face. So it's a night of fun. and misery and jokes and sarcasm, and it's gonna have a fun little twist this year. I helped write it, and it's my little work baby. So if you're in Salem, if you're coming to Salem, it's a great time. Also, you can find me personally on all the socials at The Themes. On Twitch, I'm going to be on later playing a survival game. Mostly I play scary games. On Instagram, if you want to keep up with the travels of Black Phillip. And, of course, as Ghostbait on Scared and Alone. So scaredandalone.com.
Thank you very much. All right. Jason.
This weekend, I'll be in New Orleans as a tourist. But if you live there, come say hi. You'll probably find me at the Absinthe Bar at least once or twice. And in February, the last weekend of February, I will be at Convocation in Detroit, which might be the United States' largest indoor pagan and witch gathering right now. Ooh. So that'll be fun. And then I will be like promoting a lot of crap because I'm like Patti in the spring. Once that end of February rolls around, I think I'm on the road like every day. Yeah. No Australia. I'm not that cool yet.
Yeah. It's a long flight.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you. And online?
You can find me on every social media platform, usually at Pan Mankey, which is my last name, but with the word Pan in front of it because Pan is awesome.
Thank you very much. All right, Richard-Lael.
Well, I am really easy to find. I am at thegentlemanpsychic.com. I'm at the Parlor of the I can't remember, the Parlor of the Gentleman Psychic on Instagram, and also the Gentleman Psychic. I'm everywhere. I don't know. I'm everywhere. On Fridays, I read from classic novels. Sometimes we summon the devil. Actually, coming up, I think next week we'll be doing Speak of the Devil, which is a collection of 19th century stories about the devil. And the cover was drawn by Salvador Dali. So there's going to be a lot of fun about that. I think that one we're going to start next week. And then I'm going to be everywhere. Thegentlemanpsychic.com. That's the easiest place to find me.
Thank you guys so much. You guys like them, follow them. I am Patti Negri. Easiest to get to all my right social media as well is go to pattinegri.com. Then you can get to my correct Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and TikTok from there. I have a newsletter. Sign up for it because I'm all sorts of places too. Like Jason, I start traveling. Australia in February, but then I'm going to hit the Darkwater cruise. I just booked, I don't know. I'm going to host the Witches Ball in Texas. I've got, I don't know, a Beltane in Ireland, Spirits in the Spring in Wisconsin. I've just booked, I don't know, on and on and on and on. So just, you can come meet me all over the world. And I'm going to try to drag some of these folks too. We need to have I just can see it now, having a Witches Movie Coven booth, at all these places.
I'm down.
We'll go. Black Phillips and us will all line up to ba and goats. So anyway, pattinegri.com. Of course, please check out my regular podcast, The Witching Hour. Drops a new one every Monday, everywhere podcasts are, and on video on my YouTube page. Follow these guys, like all of us, because we want you to. And thank you for your input, and thank you for all your kind words. You guys are really, really sweet, you guys. Alabama. We're going to go to Alabama. I don't think I've ever been to Alabama. I guess I need to go. Anybody been to Alabama?
With a banjo on my knee.
I've driven through it a lot of times. I've never done an event there. I've done events in Florida.
I've never been.
Louisiana, but I've never done an event in Alabama. That would be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. All right, Patty, we'll be there. If you build it, we will come. So, other than that,
summon us like Satan. Summon us.
All right. So, but let's go back to the ninth gate for one more minute. Wands up. Now, we know not everybody's seen it. Courtney hasn't seen it yet, but any of you out there have seen it? Ninth grade, 1999, Johnny Depp, Roman Polanski, wands up, wands down.
I'm going to say, I know I haven't seen it, but I love Johnny Depp and Hail Satan. So
there we go.
I'm going to love it when I watch
it. So that's official on that. Wands up, wands up, wands up, wands up. Okay. This is kind of more unanimous by far.
Except Jason is being contrarian, of course.
Down. Down. Wands down. Just
Wand.
watch Rosemary's Baby again if you have to watch a Roman Polanski film.
He just wanted to bring us back to the wands up and wands down so he could very emphatically put his wand down.
It's,
Yes, he did. All right.
it's rare when it's this down.
Wow. So that
It's
wow.
down.
Now,
It's
is
down
that,
with some oomph.
now, is that political at all, or just about the film and the cigarette? Does that have anything to?
You know, I mean, my politics, you know, they transfer over to some of this. It could be some of that. I still like Rosemary's Baby, and we'll give it wands up when we do it. But I just didn't think this was a very good film. I just thought Johnny Depp wasn't as good as Johnny Depp usually is in a film. Maybe he needed to slur his words a little bit more, you know? And then, you know, I'm a pirate in the Ninth Gate. I'm finding Satan and all, you know, something like that. Maybe.
I would have.
Maybe that would have
been
perked
there
it
for
up.
that.
Perhaps.
Some eyeliner.
Yeah.
That's in the remake.
Mhm.
Well, it is 7:00, but we do have one more thing to do, and we got you guys out there to do it too, because what do witches do? Witches cackle. 1, 2, 3. That's the movie coming. Come back next week, every week, Wednesday. Wands up.